Everybody. This week's Parsha is Parashat Devarim. It's the fifth book of the Torah, which is when Moses starts rebuking the children of Israel. They're about to enter the land of Israel, and it's the generation that has survived after the 40 years after the desert. We know that the women weren't the ones who were decreed that they shouldn't enter the land. It was only the men that were aged 20 to 60 when they did the sin of the spies, that they came back and spoke bad about the land of Israel. So the Torah tells us how Moses, about 37 days before his passing, decides to rebuke the children of Israel. First he was afraid because in times in the past when he had rebuked them, he had been punished by Hashem. But this time he knew it was right. He knew they're going into the land, and he wants to give them instructions of the way they need to be. It says that the generation that was with Moses was called Dor De'ah. They were called the generation of knowledge. They, just like Moses saw God, the generation that was with him when they left Egypt, basically, they also saw God. But the generation that was entered into the land of Israel, they were on a lower level in a sense. They had the hearing. The generation that was entering the land of Israel, they are considered the generation of hearing. It's in a lower level in a sense. So they're entering the land and they need to be given instruction. So it says about this idea of rebuke, admonition, that it is a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that you have to, the Torah says, Hocheach tocheach et amitecha. Rebuke your friend. You see your friend doing something wrong, give him advice, tell him you're doing something wrong. Obviously don't embarrass him, do it in private, don't do it in public where you're likely to embarrass someone. But nevertheless, there's a spiritual teaching that says that we have to be very careful when we're rebuking someone. Because if someone is on their own level, not really fitting to admonish, to give the rebuke, it could be very dangerous on a spiritual level. They can actually cause harm to the person that they are rebuking. Because if they're on, the person giving the rebuke is not on a really high level, they're kind of in a way spiritually impure. And they're, by the rebuke that they're giving to the person, even though it might be for a real thing that they see that they're doing wrong, they might be bringing more negative into their soul actually and causing them more harm than good. And by doing this, they may be, in a sense, hurting the person that they're rebuking and the source of their soul and bringing their soul down. And when someone brings someone's soul down, in a sense, it's lessening the impact of that soul. They're lessening the spiritual energy that's coming from that soul. And so when we're, God forbid, if we impact someone negatively in the spiritual sense, we could be harming spiritual worlds that we have no idea about, that are getting influenced by this person from their soul, and by this negative rebuke in a sense that their soul is coming down, the spiritual worlds will not be getting that energy. So that's the idea, that the rebuke really needs to come from love, and the person doing the rebuke better lift themselves up to a very high level first. If they're not on a high level, they might not be fitting to give the rebuke. So it needs to come from love and kindness, so then it could be bringing kindness to this person. So there's another beautiful idea that it says about rebuke, that if someone is really doing it for the right reasons, like we said, it says, King Solomon says, Mochiach adam acharai chen yimtza mimachlik lashon. The one who rebukes someone for Hashem, that Hashem says, acharai, for me, that person that's giving the rebuke, the admonishment, will find favor more than someone who's just always just speaking nicely and trying to kiss up in a sense. That you're trying to bring a person to a higher level, and you're really doing it, like we said before, that you are on this high level, so you're bringing them to that higher level. And that's what Moses was really trying to do here. He was really trying to bring the Jews to a higher level. Another beautiful idea from the Parsha is that it says that the Torah is called Etz Chaim. It says, Marpeh Lashon Etz Chaim. It's a healing of the tongue, the Etz Chaim, the tree of life. The Torah is a tree of life, and it brings healing to our tongue. It brings, when we learn Torah, we learn how to speak better. We'll learn how to communicate better with those that we love, with the important relationships, and everything we're doing, even in business, anything we're doing in our life. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, may we be empowered by the Torah to know the right things to say, and when to say them, and to do good. Shabbat Shalom U'Mevorach.